Hey gang, this is Andy over at Falco Canine Academy. This episode of Falco Canine's Dog Talk is going to be about no not being a command. So no is not a command. Let me repeat. No is not a command. All right, so I had a conversation with one of our trainers, Larry, and I'm so glad we have these opportunities to sit in the office or out in the field after a session of training with a bunch of our clients. And we bring up certain subjects that get brought up during class, that kind of stuff. And a particular discussion we had the other day was about the word no being used in dog training. Now, my philosophy is that your dog needs to be given instruction. Your dog needs to know what to do and what not to do. This can be either done through a verbal command of some sort or a nonverbal signal. Like we teach which stop means sit, leaving with your left foot means heel, leaving with your right foot means stay, hand signal down, hand signal sit, hand signal for a recall. Those are all very powerful tools in a nonverbal area. And then we speak through our dog through either praise or correction. A correction could be a verbal, and a correction could be physical. So what I suggest to most of our clients, whether it's police, detection, or pet, is to do your best to refrain from just willy-nilly using the word no, because no really isn't telling the dog to do something. So let's say, for instance, you're walking and your dog is supposed to be heeling with his right shoulder in line with your left leg, and say the dog begins to forage, in other words, starts to move out ahead of you because they're approaching a fire hydrant or another dog or a child or something like that. I hear handlers often say no to their dog as the dog's moving forward. The problem with that is it's not really telling the dog what to do. And my suggestion is that you don't say no to the dog, you simply give him a correction, which tells the dog that he's out of position. The dog, or the no command to some dogs is completely meaningless. The reason that at some point when you tell your dog no and he just ignores you and continues on is because you've said it so much in so many different situations during all kinds of different circumstances that it's lost its meaning, because you just say no, 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 and you don't really give the dog direction. So in those times when you want it to work as a correction of some sort, it is essentially meaningless. It doesn't tell the dog what it is you want. So if a dog feels a physical correction when it's in the wrong spot, it knows that that spot is not correct. If it goes out to the left a little bit too far, it feels a correction, that's not correct. If it goes behind you a little bit, it'll get a correction, and that's not correct. And then when it's right next to you with its right shoulder in line with your left leg, nothing happens. Or you pat the dog on the head, or you say good dog in a very nice tone. And that way the dog knows the difference. It feels a correction here, feels a correction there, feels a correction here. If you say no and it doesn't do anything to the dog, and you say no again and it doesn't do anything, and then you give a correction, and then you come back into place, again, you've wasted 2 opportunities to get your dog to understand that he's been doing something wrong, because the no has become meaningless. If your dog is beginning to run out the door and you're saying no, you're not really telling your dog that he needs to either down and stay, sit and stay, come back to you. You've wasted no. Now, if your dog is at a full sprint and you're saying no, and by the time you say no again, the dog has gotten about 15 feet, if not about 25 feet. There's a great video we watch in the police academy and in our briefing training as a police officer, and it's about straight edge weapon or edged weapon attacks. And it talks about how quickly somebody can get to you and stab you before you react. And a guy can actually get about 25 feet and get you before you react, pull your gun, go into some defensive mood or something like that. And so the time and distance that's lost by saying no and then trying to repeat no when your dog is running out the door, the dog could be in the street by the time you say here, or by the time you say down, and you want the dog to do something in response to your command. So my suggestion is that you do your best to take the no out of your dog training, because it really is not a command, and in most cases it's really not a correction either, because you've said it too much and it's lost its meaning. Now, if you've been really good in your training, and this is where I think Larry and I came to an agreement, is that if you're really good in that you're using your commands sparingly and only when you can support them through some type of praise or correction, your no could actually mean something. Say they stick their head in the trash can and you say no, the dog will lift his head up and say, oh, I'm not supposed to do that. But again, you're going to have to say something that would give the dog some direction, like to move away from the trash can. So you would say here, or leave it, and the dog would have to do something. Again, I think the no is often just merely wasting time to get the dog to do something that you really want him to do. All right, so I hope this all makes sense. Stay away from the word no. It's not really a command. Tell the dog what it is you want. Don't overuse the word no or any other word, or else it'll lose its meaning. And be fair to your dog. Be black and white, and give the dog consistent direction. When he's doing something wrong, be quick to tell him when he's doing something wrong, and be quick to tell him when he's doing something right. And you'll have a much happier, loving, and respectful relationship between you and your dog. All right? Hope that helps, and we will see you on the next one. Take care.